For nearly 30 years, twin sisters June and Jennifer Gibbons refused to speak to anyone in the outside world. They communicated exclusively with each other using idioglossia. Idioglossia is a private, often incredibly fast-paced language that is completely incomprehensible to anyone outside of a specific pair or group. While society often views twins as built-in companions, June and Jennifer lived in a state of absolute, self-imposed isolation. This decades-long silence only ended when one of the sisters died, an event that instantly allowed the survivor to speak. Their absolute codependency transformed their shared silence into a toxic psychological prison. The daughters of Barbadian immigrants growing up in Wales, the girls faced intense external alienation that likely contributed to their retreat from society. They eventually ceased all verbal communication with their parents, relying strictly on written notes to interact with their own family. In 1974, a doctor administering vaccinations noticed their completely unresponsive behavior, triggering a string of failed psychological interventions. To break their impenetrable bond, authorities eventually forced the twins into separate boarding schools. Separated, both girls fell into catatonia. Catatonia is a complex behavioral syndrome where a person becomes physically unresponsive, effectively shut down despite being awake. External intervention failed. Forced separation only reinforced their absolute physical dependence on one another. Inside their private bedroom, their public unity vanished. In its place was a vicious, ongoing war for control. Their extensive diaries reveal the truth. The sisters were often adversaries, using the written word to express the anger they never spoke aloud. June's diaries described their bond as more like a romance, yet she expressed an agonizing desire to be strong enough to split from her sister. Jennifer's perspective was darker. She explicitly compared their relationship to the biblical murder of Abel by Cain. This rivalry spilled over into elaborate doll play, where they simulated the outside world they were both too terrified to enter. They were trapped in a cycle of mutual destruction, acting as each other's only companion and greatest tormentor. As teenagers, they channeled their internal pressure into creative writing. June eventually Vanity published an unsettling novel titled The Pepsi-Cola Addict. The novel's themes of extreme paranoia and social disconnection acted as a direct mirror to the twins' own real-world anxiety. When fictional escapes failed, turmoil escalated into violence, petty theft, and arson. They were committed to the high-security Broadmoor Psychiatric Hospital, where they were confined for over a decade. Medical staff at Broadmoor realized that the twins' destructive behavior and depression were inextricably linked to their proximity to one another. Their refusal to integrate with society eventually forced society to remove them, locking them in an environment as rigid as their own minds. While awaiting transfer to a lower security clinic, the twins reportedly reached a grim conclusion. Neither could live an individual life while the other survived. They allegedly made a mutual pact, deciding that one sister would have to die so the other could finally be free. In 1993, Jennifer died suddenly of acute myocarditis. Myocarditis is a sudden inflammation of the heart muscle that can severely impair the heart's ability to pump blood. Days after Jennifer's death, June ended her lifelong silence. She began speaking freely and eventually integrated into the outside world. Healthy human development requires a balance between connection to others and a separate sense of self. A bond without boundaries destroys the self, turning love into a suffocating trap that only tragedy could break.